My oldest son had gotten into Cub Scouts. He was having a lot of fun. My daughter's like, hey, Dad, I want to do something like that.
Last Sunday in Portland, Oregon, a new group of Boy Scouts marched off in search of adventure.
There was not many troops forming in the more rural areas, so it was hard to find her a troop.
2019 comes around, and these girls are ready to join a troop. They're 11. They're done with their Aerovlight, and there were no girls' troops yet. So we talked to several other units and decided the best option was to start our own troop. The 5 that were ready to bridge over brought 2 friends with them. So we started with 7, and now we have...
Unofficially, I've been scouting since I was a little girl. My dad has always been big into scouts, and so he was the Cub Master back in my hometown, and my brothers were Cubs as well, and so I would just tag along with them whenever we went out.
When they're coming up 5th grade year, 4th grade year, their personalities are just developing. And I think it's really important for them to see other kids their age, maybe a little bit older contemporaries, and how independent they are.
After like Webelos, you get to do more of the fun stuff. Cooking, building, archery, and do a lot of outdoor stuff. I think it's all the activities you can do.
I've been to Merriweather before, and I really like this camp. I think it went pretty well.
The food was actually surprisingly good, and some of the crafts, they have cooking, and that's pretty good too. I didn't think they were going to like it as much as they did.
How will girls in Scouts BSA change the scouting experience? Boys in scouting stay in an all-boy troop. New troops are being formed for girls, so girls lead their troops and boys lead their troops. The real genius of scouting is the leadership opportunities it provides. Sure, there's the adventure, the camping, and the skills, but the opportunity to lead a patrol or a troop, that's special.
We just formed our troop this year, and with the help of the district executive, we were able to charter with a local Kiwanis club.
Honestly, I like having a boys troop and a girls troop together. I think it makes it a lot easier on families like mine, where now my youngest daughter just joined the girls troop in the past 6 months. And it's nice to know the whole family's involved with the couple of troops.
These 2 troops together shared meals. So instead of smaller campouts during the year where you might do smaller either 2-person cooking or patrol cooking, in this case our troops doled it out in big portions, and we worked together as a big giant group. They got to work together as a crew.
When I heard the girls were allowed in February 2019, I was ecstatic. So it started out of 2 girls in our troop with 40, 50 boys. But I learned a lot, and over the flip of a coin, because there were 2 people in our troop, I became SPL, and they made me do flag at the ripe age of 13. But ever since that, it's so much good leadership opportunities and so much fun and so much learning.
I haven't really always been a leader, but Scouts has definitely taught me a lot.
It was definitely a journey. I learned a lot just going from knowing nothing, especially surrounded by people who also knew nothing. And we just all kind of learned together.
One thing that I really like about the scouting program is it's not gender specific at all. Even when it was Boy Scouts learned how to sew, you learned how to cook, you learned how to balance checkbooks, you learned all of these essential skills.
How local government works, state government works, federal government. You're learning management, money,
auto repair merit badge,
fitness, cooking,
nuclear science.
The wealth of knowledge that comes from these merit badges, and just scouting in general, you'll use those skills throughout your life.
I've watched kids take the bugling merit badge. As those kids grew, they had a deeper appreciation, not just for the bugle, but for music. And now they want to be music teachers.
These are all ingrained in the program, and they've been here forever. It's just not necessarily what everybody would think of when they think of Boy Scouts.
It was scary, but it was fun at the same time.
You almost fall out a lot, but like, it's fun.
It started to trot and then it started to run, like gallop, and then I pulled back the reins and then it stopped. It was like kind of terrifying, but also very thrilling.
Wow. The girls are in a safe environment.
It looks kind of like little tiny beads of water.
Where they can be empowered and learn and grow. They're exploring the arts, wilderness survival. They're also branching out on their own, doing things like radio or forestry or trail to first class. And they're working both as a group and individually on their own paths.
Yes!
Can we get milk?
No, if nobody
Sonic, can you get some help out of that, please?
That is the patrol method in action. If you let them have a little space, let them have appropriate leadership, they know where the guardrails are, they're gonna grow and do it exponentially faster.
It's all about youth leadership. It's all about giving them the opportunity to make the decisions, to develop the skills, and to learn and to lead.
The courses are all based on leadership and learning how to be a good leader. And I thought that the way that they did their slideshow presentations and how they did face-to-face, like talking and explaining stuff was really great, and it taught me some important life skills.
You have to be able to lead people that we don't know well. And one of the biggest takeaways for me was like, I need to be able to work with them the way that they need me to work with them.
In regards to communication, how did that help you guys out?
Go ahead, salute!
And the lenses get out.
It's one of the most important things in my life, and I don't really know where I would be without scouting. I think that seeing women, I think that seeing people of color, I think that seeing people who identify with their sexuality differently is so important, because it allows you to see that someone who I relate to, someone who I have something in common with, can also do this. Therefore, I feel more confident that I can do it as well.
We have a girl that is brand new to Scouts.
Nervous about camping.
And nervous.
And being away from home and all the responsibilities, not knowing what to expect. And she was
and
very
she's
nervous.
Young. She's 11 years old.
Yes. And so she got here and woke up the first morning, and the first words that I heard from my tent, she was like, I am so happy. What is your goal for the day? And she's got 2 tent buddies. So what is your goal for the day? What is your goal for the day? She is our biggest cheerleader. And she was the most nervous in the very beginning.
I've got scouts that love this high adventure. They just, the more physically active, the better. And I've got others that are like, let's sit around a campfire and tell stories. And there's a place for everybody there. They're out in the woods. They're out creature instincts, right? They're finding shelter, finding food, finding those basic things. And they open up, and you get to see their personalities just blossom, and it's absolutely beautiful.
Groups that tend to have boys and girls, they tend to be more diverse in opinions.
It's great to see a bunch of girls come up and kind of shatter everyone's expectations of what girls had previously been expected to do.
The girls are much more studious than the boys, and the boys are very competitive. So having girls in the classes means that the girls are going to study and could be very focused, and the boys are going to try to compete with that and be more studious and focused than they were before. I find my classes are much easier to manage.
A lot of people said there's a lot more maturity in scouting because the girls showed up and now they're like, oh, time to mature.
Definitely think that the girls are helping boys kind of raise their own standards and just being more helpful overall. They're not competing so much, they're more working together as a team.
Pull back, lean back, yeah.
There's a little bit of that competitivity, which is good, but it's a lot more of a helpful environment.
In 2019, the second they got here, I remember just being like, this makes sense. This is absolutely where they should be. They brought the standard up. I remember feeling a real palpable sense of oh, the boys they're trying a little bit.
And we take this.
The girls' troops, they only knew the new culture of scouting. They only knew the inclusive culture. And so that's their starting point. And they brought that energy, and kind of every other troop that had existed for a while had to kind of step up and meet that.
My daughter, that was one of 3 girls that did the mile swim today. In fact, this is the first time at Camp Pioneer where only girls accomplish their mile swim, and all 3 girls did a fantastic job.
When she decided she wanted to do the mile swim, I was nervous, and I thought, well, let's take you to the pool enough times to practice and make sure you have the endurance to do it. I didn't know if she'd finish, but she did. She stuck to it, and I'm really proud of her.
It is important to see girls and people like me stepping up into leadership positions and to show that anyone can be a leader. Your identity doesn't matter, it's your skills that matter, and skills can be built. Skills can be learned and grown, and leadership can be achieved by anyone.
I kept going in Scout because I wanted to prove to myself that I could make it all the way to Eagle.
I went to a troop in Albany and all of their younger girls had never seen an Eagle Scout, let alone a girl Eagle Scout. So it was really cool to be that kind of role model for them and for them to see, oh wow, I can do this.
At my first camp out, we were talking about how I had the possibility to get Eagle, and I was kind of iffy at first, but as soon as my Scoutmaster planted that seed in my brain, I went straight for it. I set deadlines that I had to meet to the day, and I made them all.